everybody! This is Rune here, and welcome to another writing vlog. So I may have mentioned at some point a while back that Pyra's in a really big writing group on Facebook. And since it's nearing about, I don't know, maybe 1,000,000 members or so by now, you can imagine we get a lot of the repetitive questions from newbie writers. So since we see those so often, I figure, what's a better idea for a writing vlog than to address those questions and give my advice? So for this video, we're going to be going over a few writing tips for beginning writers. Let's get started. Number 1, don't worry about being original. A lot of the time, we'll go on Facebook and we go to the writing group and we'll see somebody asking like, I was really excited to write this plot point, or just this plot in general, only to find out that someone else has already done it. Should I just scrap it? And, well, no. My advice to that is, no, you shouldn't scrap it. And you shouldn't worry about being original. The reason being, nobody's original anymore. If you go pick out any book, anywhere, it'll have similarities to some other book. Or even a movie or a video game or any fictional media. With so many ideas being passed around over the millions to billions of years that people have been having ideas, it's nearly impossible to come up with something that's 100% never been done before. And if you really look, you can find similarities and stuff you probably never would have put together. Like maybe the series Sword Art Online and The Evil Within. You probably wouldn't think they're anything alike, but if you break down the story, there are some pretty big similarities in there. And the same thing goes with Attack on Titan and the movie Trolls. Yeah, I don't think anyone else has ever made that comparison before, but if you break it down, there are similarities. And yeah, people don't often see those, but it's a thing. No story is 100% original. So when it comes to writing your story, what you want to do, just take that idea and make it your own. Add your own little personal twist to it. And then that way, it'll be yours. It'll feel original, even if it's not. Don't worry about something you can't accomplish, and instead, just write your story your way and do what you can accomplish. Okay, number 2. Practice makes perfect. I also see a lot of people who get on there and they'll start comparing themselves to other writers. It'll usually sound something like I've been writing for 5 months or whatever now, and I just can't feel good about it. Every time I pick up some other author's work or I see someone else post in this group, I just can't help but think, wow, that person's so much better than me. And even if I try hard, I feel like I'll never be anywhere near as good. Maybe I should just quit. And to that I say, again, no. You shouldn't quit just because you're not good at something, especially if you haven't started that long ago. I mean, think about it. Is anyone good at anything the moment they pick them up? Sometimes, maybe. Some people are a little good at something right when they pick it up because they're able to adapt to that sort of activity. But usually that's not the case. When you pick up a new activity for the first time, you're not going to be good at it no matter what it is. You have to practice and research and learn. You have to train your brain to be able to put together like the good sentences and the good quality story stuff. You have to try. And if you quit, well, you're never going to get anything done then. You're never going to get any better if you quit. There's also, if you really don't feel like writing's your thing, that's one thing. Sometimes I also see people who are they don't think they're good at writing, and they're questioning if they're enjoying it as well. And in that case, it may be okay to take a step back and really think about if you want to write or not, because for some people, writing's just not their thing. But I'm just trying to address the people who, I would just ask yourself this question. Do you want to write? Do you want to be a writer? If the answer is yes, then take a deep breath and remind yourself that nobody is good at this when they first start out. Nobody. Not even Pyra. You could ask Pyra yourself. When she started writing 5 years ago, she didn't feel bad about her writing back then, but if she looked back on it now, she would cringe and want to rip her own eyeballs out and then stomp them on the ground in dirt and then eat them. Because, well, like, after 5 years of writing, she's gotten way better. And, like, yeah, it's good that you can look back and think, wow, what I wrote back then was terrible, because that means you've grown. So, if you ever feel like you might want to quit because you're not doing as well as someone else, stop comparing yourself. That person's probably been writing a lot longer than you, especially if there's some famous author like Stephen King. He's been doing it a long time. It makes sense he's good. If you want to write, push those doubts aside and you focus on writing. Get it done. Don't quit. You can do it. Okay, number 3. Ways to stay motivated. Now I know I say ways like plural, but I really just wanted to throw this tip in here. I made a tweet a little while ago talking about how if you start to feel like you're not inspired / motivated to continue writing, and you just don't feel like writing no matter what you do, it may be a good idea to consider taking a little break and indulge yourself in some other, fictional sort of activities. Now I know a lot of people will be like, well, when you get stuck, you don't want to take a break every single time because then you'd never get anything done. And that is true. You don't want to take too many breaks that you're not making progress. But it also is okay to take the occasional break. Like, sometimes when Pyra's writing, she'll just get so stuck that she loses all motivation and inspiration. She does not feel like writing and she doesn't know what to do. So what she does then? She watches anime. Because that's a really good way to witness someone else's creative story. Most anime comes from a light novel or a manga, and seeing that it's on the big screen usually inspires Pyra to continue with her own work. Because maybe something like that could happen for you in the future, you never know, maybe. But I think if you take a break and just kind of let your brain absorb some other sort of creative work that you love, it tends to help jumpstart. At least that's what it works for Pyra, so I just wanted to throw it in here as a little tip. It's okay to take breaks sometimes. So don't feel bad. Just make sure you're not taking the breaks too many times, okay? Still want to get work done on your project, don't you? And number 4, you can write whatever you want. Now, this is the point I really wanted to cover in this video. Because about half the time when Pyra gets on Facebook, she'll log on to the writing group and she'll see someone's posted something like, I've decided to let my friend read my story and they don't think that I should write about this thing I chose to include. What should I do? Should I scrap it? And the situation's usually that the author decided to write a character of a different culture and ethnicity than they are, and the friend doesn't think they're qualified to write about that. And the piece of advice that I have for that, which is what Pyra and we stick to this advice closer than any other advice we possibly hand out, is that you can write whatever you want. Now this piece of advice, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It has a positive and negative side to it. The positive side, well, you can write whatever you want. Nobody can tell you you can't write about that. It's your story, and you can do it your way, no matter what anyone else thinks. You have the right to include whatever content you want. But on the other hand, this is just something to keep in mind. While you can write whatever you want, your portrayal of certain topics is pretty important to the reception of your story. So for example, you're completely free to write a character of a different culture and ethnicity than you. In fact, Pyra has plenty of characters that aren't the same ethnicity as her. But if you choose to do that, then you want to do as much research as you can and be as respectful as you possibly can be in your portrayal of this other culture. Otherwise, you might make people a little angry about the way you chose to represent them, especially if it's inaccurate. So, yeah, just if your reception of your story is important to you, yeah, just keep that in mind. Just the way you do it. You're free to write anything you want, but just the way you do it it's a little important. Yeah, those have been my tips for beginning writers. So, thank you all everybody for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button and be sure to comment and subscribe as well. I read all of my comments. And if you want to be able to watch writing videos before they come out on YouTube, you can also subscribe to my Patreon. Become a patron. I include the link in the description of every video I ever put up, except maybe some of the first ones that it wasn't in there, but I always include it in the description so you can find it there. I'm just including it now because I tend to forget, and it pertains to writing videos because patrons get early access to writing videos, so I'm just throwing it in here now. But yes, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you guys all next time.